What if you didn't have to choose between Windows and Linux? What if every time you flipped on your computer, you could pick exactly which operating system to load, keeping everything you love about Windows while having a full native Linux environment sitting right alongside it? That is precisely what dual booting gives you. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire deployment process from scratch, even if you've never touched Linux before in your life. Today, we are installing Ubuntu alongside Windows 10 or 11 in a dual boot configuration. This means both operating systems will coexist peacefully on the exact same hard drive. When you start your PC, you'll be greeted with a menu to choose your workspace. It is the perfect setup if you are curious about Linux but aren't ready to wipe your drive and fully commit. You keep Windows exactly as it is, nothing gets deleted and nothing gets moved. Ubuntu simply carves out its own dedicated territory on your machine, downloading Ubuntu LTs and Rufus. Let's jump into the web browser and get our assets. Search for Ubuntu Download and click the primary link from ubuntu.com. On the landing page, head straight to the download section. You want to locate the Ubuntu LTS release. LTS stands for long-term support, meaning this specific version is guaranteed to receive security patches and system updates for 5 full years. Always stick to the LTS build for daily production. It is stable, reliable, and the definitive choice for newcomers. Hit the download button to grab the ISO file. It's roughly a 6 GB download, so depending on your network, it'll take about 10 to 20 minutes. While that cooks in the background, open a new tab and search for Rufus download. Click the top link, scroll to the download repository, and grab the latest standard executable version. Rufus is an incredibly lightweight utility that will finish downloading in seconds. Creating the bootable USB drive. Go ahead and plug a blank USB flash drive into your computer. Once the Ubuntu ISO finishes downloading, launch Rufus by double-clicking the executable and click Yes on the Windows administrative prompt. At the top of the Rufus dashboard, verify that your correct USB flash drive is selected under the device drop-down menu. If you have multiple external drives hooked up, be incredibly careful here. Ensure you are targeting your temporary flash drive, not an external backup. Next, click the Select button, navigate to your Downloads folder, grab the newly downloaded Ubuntu ISO, and hit Open. Rufus will automatically configure the underlying partition schemes and file systems for the media. You don't need to tweak anything else. Click Start. Rufus will flash a final warning indicating that all pre-existing data on that USB drive will be permanently erased. Click OK. The flashing process will take roughly 5 to 10 minutes. Once the green status bar at the bottom fills up and displays ready, your bootable Ubuntu media is complete, and you can close Rufus. The golden rule: back up your data. Before we take another step, I need you to pause the video and do one critical thing. Back up your vital data right now. We are about to modify your storage disk partitions, which are the literal boundaries on your hard drive that isolate your operating systems and files. When executed correctly, this process is completely safe. However, storage partitioning is one of those highly sensitive administrative tasks where a single user mistake or sudden power loss can be incredibly costly. Save your irreplaceable photos, documents, and projects to an external drive or cloud storage before moving forward, carving out disk space in Windows management. With your backup secured, let's carve out some unallocated real estate for Ubuntu. We will handle this entirely inside Windows using the native disk management utility. Right-click the Windows Start button and select Disk Management from the Advanced Context menu. Locate your primary boot drive, the storage disk where Windows is actively installed. You are looking for your large primary OS partition that has plenty of free, unused storage capacity. Right-click that partition volume and select Shrink Volume. The utility will query the volume and present a field reading. Enter the amount of space to shrink in megabytes. For a healthy, functional Ubuntu environment, I recommend allocating a bare minimum of 30 gigabytes. Since storage metrics use binary multipliers, we take our gigabyte target and multiply it by 1024. For 30 gigabytes, that means we type in exactly 30,720 and input that value. After a few moments, a brand new storage block will appear at the tail end of your disk map, highlighted in dark gray and labeled as unallocated. This unallocated block is Ubuntu's future home. Do not format it, do not assign it a drive letter, and do not touch it. Leave it exactly as it is. Booting into advanced startup mode. Now, we need to force your computer to boot directly from our prepared USB drive instead of launching Windows. Here is the cleanest way to trigger this on both Windows 10 and 11. Open your System Settings, navigate to System, and click on Recovery. Locate the Advanced Startup row and click the Restart Now button. Confirm the action on the pop-up prompt. Your PC will bypass its normal cycle and boot into a solid blue screen known as the Advanced Startup Options menu. From here, click on Use a Device. A list of bootable hardware targets will appear. Locate your USB flash drive. It may simply display as USB device or feature the manufacturer's brand name. Click it. Your computer will reboot once more and initialize the setup files straight from the flash drive. Initializing the Ubuntu Interactive Installer. Once the USB loads, a black menu known as the GRUB bootloader will appear on your screen. Select Try or Install Ubuntu using your arrow keys and hit Enter. The modern Ubuntu graphical installation wizard will initialize. First, choose your preferred language from the sidebar and click Next. Verify or adjust your specific keyboard layout on the subsequent screen and hit Next. The installer will then query your network interfaces. If your machine is hooked up to Wi-Fi or local Ethernet, the installer will give you the option to log into your network. I highly recommend connecting to the internet right now. This allows Ubuntu to actively fetch the latest security updates and stable third-party hardware drivers during the installation phase, saving you immense setup time later on. Select your network, authenticate, and click Next. On the installation type prompt, select Install Ubuntu and hit Next. Choose Interactive Installation on the following screen. This gives us granular step-by-step control over our partition table without being overly complex. Hit Next. When asked what software applications you want to start with, select Extended Selection. This pre-packages an open-source Office suite, core media utilities, and essential web browsing tools right out of the gate, preventing you from having to hunt down basic software later. Hit Next. On the Features Layout screen, ensure you check the boxes for both download updates while installing Ubuntu and install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware. This ensures proprietary assets like NVIDIA graphics drivers and multimedia codecs are cleanly injected into your kernel out of the box. Click Next. Manual Partitioning. Pay incredibly close attention right here. We have reached the disk configuration layout, which is arguably the most vital fork in the road of the entire installation. The installer will offer an automated macro option labeled Install Ubuntu alongside Windows Boot Manager. While this macro works fine for basic automated layouts, we are going to explicitly select Manual Partitioning and click Next. This ensures we can target the exact unallocated storage block we custom carved inside Windows Disk Management, completely removing any risk of the installer accidentally overwriting your Windows system files. A complete structural map of your storage, drives, and existing Windows partitions will populate. Scroll carefully through the partition list until you locate the row explicitly labeled as free space, matching the exact gigabyte metric we shrank earlier. Click to highlight that specific free space row, and then tap the plus button at the base of the table to generate a structural partition. For the size, leave the value maximized to consume the full available footprint. For the file system, open the drop-down menu and choose XT. This is the standard, highly robust native journaling file system utilized across modern Linux distributions. For the mount point, open the drop-down and select the standalone / symbol. In Linux configuration, this symbol represents the root directory, the absolute foundational baseline of your entire operating system where all core system binaries, configurations, and user profiles reside. Click OK. Your newly configured ext partition will populate in the directory tree marked by a gray confirmation check. Now, cast your eyes to the bottom of the layout to verify the bootloader installation device setting. You must ensure this target is set to the primary physical hard drive containing your pre-existing Windows Boot Manager. This configuration step is mandatory because it tells the installer to deploy the GRUB boot menu to the primary master boot record, enabling it to dynamically detect and display both Windows and Linux options upon system startup. If your computer only houses a single internal drive, this target will already be mapped correctly by default. Review your partition targets and click Next. Account provisioning and system deployment. Now for your personal profile configuration. Input your real name, define a unique system username for your Linux profile, and construct a highly secure account password. A vital word of administrative warning: write this password down or store it securely in a password manager. Linux handles security parameters, strict layout protocols. You will be required to input this password literally every time you log into the machine, download software packages, or execute terminal commands. Click Next. Select your geographical time zone on the interactive map or type your closest major city into the lookup field. Click Next, review the final master summary manifest, and hit Install. The formal deployment sequence is now live. The installer is actively modifying the file systems, unpacking system packages, mapping your local user accounts, and structuring the dual boot framework. Depending on your storage drive architecture and network connectivity speed, this process can take anywhere from 10 minutes on a high-speed NVMe SSD to roughly an hour on legacy magnetic platters. You can track the global progress bar, or click the small terminal icon at the base of the screen to monitor the raw real-time installation logs as they compile. This is the perfect window to grab a drink, check your phone, or let the machine do its work. Ubuntu has the wheel from here. The first boot and exploring GRUB. The moment the installation completes, a final dialog prompt will populate on your screen reading, "Installation complete. Restart now." Click it. As your computer cycles down its hardware interfaces, a stark command line warning will flash across your monitor instructing you to remove your installation media. Unplug your USB flash drive from the port and tap Enter. Your computer will perform a fresh hardware post-cycle. Watch your display closely right now. You will be met by a brand new text menu interface that you have never seen on this machine before. This is GRUB, the native Linux deployed bootloader responsible for managing your dual boot topology. The menu will list your boot choices, pinning Ubuntu right at the top, and hosting your Windows Boot Manager just a few rows down. GRUB utilizes a standard 10-second automated countdown timer before launching the top default selection. Tap any arrow key on your keyboard to completely halt the countdown, allowing you to take your time selecting your destination. For our inaugural launch into Linux, highlight Ubuntu and hit Enter. Native desktop basics and post-install updates. Welcome to the Ubuntu desktop. Click through the brief, user-friendly initial welcome screens to familiarize yourself with the interface orientation, and you will land squarely on a clean, modern desktop ecosystem. The very first administrative task we must execute on any fresh Linux environment is a comprehensive package index update. Right-click anywhere on the Open Desktop workspace and select Open in Terminal from the context menu. The native command line console populates. Type the following command exactly as shown and hit Enter. Bash. Sudo apt update. The system will halt the execution sequence and demand your account password. Type it in and hit Enter. Do not panic when you see that no characters, asterisks, or placeholders appear on the screen as you type. This is a built-in terminal security protocol common across all Unix-like systems to prevent over-the-shoulder credential snooping. Just type the string blindly and confirm with Enter. This command securely contacts the upstream mirrors to refresh Ubuntu's internal catalog of available applications and patches. Once that index syncs up, execute the follow-up deployment command to pull down the physical assets. Bash. Sudo apt upgrade. Hit Enter. Confirm the storage footprints when prompted by typing Y, and let the package manager download and install every single pending security update and core system patch. Let it run completely uninterrupted until the prompt clears out, customizing the GRUB boot menu timeout. Now that our core system is fully updated, let's fix a common quality of life issue, the GRUB countdown timer. As we saw, the system defaults to a tight 10-second window before auto-booting, which doesn't leave much time if you step away from your desk during a reboot. Let's expand that comfort window to a generous 45 seconds. Inside your active terminal window, launch the native text editor to modify the master boot file by running the following command. Bash. Sudo nano, etc. default GRUB. Hit Enter to initialize the configuration layout. Use your keyboard arrow keys to scroll down into the text block until you pinpoint the exact configuration entry reading. GRUB timeout equal toten. Use your backspace key to delete the 10% modifier and replace it exactly with 45. To save your structural modifications inside the Nano Terminal editor, press Ctrl+O and hit Enter to confirm the file name right out. Next, press Ctrl+X to exit the editor interface back to the standard prompt. To ensure the system parses and compiles your new setting into the active boot configuration, you must execute the final update script. Bash. Sudo update GRUB. Hit Enter. The terminal will automatically recompile your boot variables. The next time you fire up your PC, you'll have a comfortable 45-second window to choose your OS workspace. Sourcing applications via the App Center. Let's talk software availability. On the left sidebar of your Ubuntu desktop layout, you will see a system dock. Locate and click on the grid-like shopping bag icon. This is the native Ubuntu App Center. The App Center functions exactly like a streamlined mobile app marketplace. It abstracts complex command line package installations into a highly accessible visual library. Search for your software, click install, input your security password, and the tool is immediately active. If you prefer an alternative to the pre-packaged Firefox browser, simply run a quick query for Google Chrome or Chromium and deploy it with a single click. For comprehensive workflow productivity, search for LibreOffice. This is a powerhouse, full-scale office production suite that provides absolute cross-compatibility with enterprise Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint extensions, completely free of charge. Explore the library and grab whatever your development or daily routine requires. Navigating your environment seamlessly in Outro, here's how the daily workflow ties everything cleanly together. Every single time you reboot or cold start your computer, the clear GRUB bootloader menu will intercept the startup cycle and ask where you want to route your hardware power. Highlight and select Ubuntu to initialize your high-performance, secure Linux workspace. Highlight and select Windows Boot Manager to boot straight into your standard Windows environment exactly as you left it. Every single one of your pre-existing Windows files, specialized software profiles, games, and system configurations remain completely untouched, pristine, and isolated. The operating systems are completely independent entities. Modifications executed inside your Linux partition cannot bleed over to compromise your Windows files, and vice versa. They share the same underlying processing hardware, but exist inside separate boundaries on the drive. And that is it! You now possess a fully optimized bare metal dual boot setup with Ubuntu and Windows running seamlessly on the exact same computer. You didn't have to sacrifice a single piece of software, and you didn't take any uncalculated risks with your primary environment. You simply unlocked a whole new operating system right alongside it. If you ran into any unexpected hurdles during your deployment, whether it's disk partitioning bottlenecks, GRUB missing from your startup sequence, or trouble accessing your UEFI BIOS menu, drop a detailed comment below with your machine specifications, and I will help you troubleshoot. The global Linux community is also incredibly welcoming if you choose to explore further. If this step-by-step breakdown saved you some troubleshooting headaches, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for practical technical deep dives every single week, and I will see you all in the very next video. Turn on that notification bell, and happy dual booting!